Welcome back to the Dukascopy TV studio. Now, women continue to succeed in finance, but are they being successfully represented in the boardroom? Joining me to discuss is Katherine Hill. Katherine, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if we look at statistics, Katherine, last year alone, women managers in investment funds achieved just under a 9% return, almost 3 times better than men, who averaged less than 3%. Now, despite this success, investment research consultants can only identify around 100 female hedge fund managers globally. So in your mind, what is preventing women from getting involved in hedge funds or even in the financial world more generally?
Well, I'm hoping that those kind of statistics will actually encourage more women to stay in finance or actually enter a career in finance. But in that Rothstein and Cass report, when you dug a little deeper, what was interesting is that over and over again, women said it's still an old boys club. It's still hard to break in. Another point that was described was that women didn't feel they could establish a track record. And in order to have a successful hedge fund or launch your own hedge fund, you need to have a track record of past performance to prove that you're good at what you do. And if you don't have the ability to do that, then I think it can be very frustrating and want you to leave finance, for example. And also what was stated in that study was the work-life balance, how there just isn't one, basically. And as recently as last night, Sally Krawcheck, the former city CFO, stated in an interview with New York Times, she said there is no work-life balance. It is an old boys club. And statements like that also from Sheryl Sandberg from Yahoo in her recent book about, it still exists, the old boys club. And I think that these kind of results are very encouraging, but that there are still some barriers that we need to overcome.
Now, one method of overcoming these barriers, there's been quite a lot of talk about EU proposals to introduce mandatory quotas in order to get women in the workplace. Now, UK ministers, for example, are opposing quotas, saying that they could undermine women. It's essentially positive discrimination. Do we think that this is a good thing? Do you think this is a necessary step, or it's been pushed through too soon? What is your thoughts on the matter?
Well, I don't think anyone really wants to be rewarded with a board seat just because they're a woman. You want to be rewarded because you're good. Yeah. So I think, yes, I think it's coming kind of at the wrong angle. Originally, I remember before this statement came out, what they had found is that in Europe, 65% of university graduates are female, yet this isn't reflected in corporations or corporate boards. And Europe is aging. They need new energy and ideas. So the idea was, well, let's try to force more women on boards. But the stance has changed slightly, and now the idea is we want that as our goal or as an objective to reach. But I think instilling hard quotas is just not a good idea at the end of the day. But having that as a future goal is a better way to achieve those results.
We're now seeing companies such as Morgan Stanley invest in companies which have board members that's purely result-based. If their stock price performs better than if the board is composed all of men. The move has been described as leading the corporate evolution. Is this really the case, do you think?
Well, at the end of the day, Morgan Stanley is a bank, and what they want to do is make money. And they have taken research from Credit Suisse, Catalyst, and McKinsey that has proven that women on the board of directors, the company stock, return on equity, their price to book value, and their growth is greater than if there are no women. So basically, Morgan Stanley has just created a product based on research. And this research just happens to be that if women are on the boards, the stock does better. So at the end of the day, really, they're just using data and evidence to make more money, and they created a product around it. It's called the Parity Portfolio. And so I think that it is a great idea, and I think maybe that'll be a trend in the future as well. But they wouldn't create something unless there was some evidence already that it was going to be making money.
So if we do look 15 to 20 years down the line, what do you expect to be happening?
Well, what's great is that in time we'll have more data, and more data will clearly show whether this is really significant or not. The Rothstein-Cass example and a few other studies, only about 5 years old. That's still, 5 years is a good range of time, but 10, 15 years from now, really the evidence will be clear, and the numbers will be there or they won't.
Now, thank you very much for your points about women in finance. You are a woman in finance. You're involved in 100 Women in Hedge Funds. You do quite a lot of special things for charities in Geneva. I understand you've got something that's quite special this year. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Certainly. So in November, we're having a really large gala at the President Wilson Hotel, and the beneficiary is the Roger Federer Foundation. So we've teamed up with their foundation specifically on a project called A Primo. And this is geared towards preschool children age 1 to 5 that are migrant children or Swiss children, but that need that extra educational push. They're usually children that are impoverished, and this will help them access higher quality education.
Sounds great, Katherine. The best of luck with it. Thank you.
Thank you. We're really excited about it. We've had a successful fundraising since we've been here in Geneva. We've raised over £1 million Swiss francs for local charities, and we welcome everyone to come and join us this November.
Good. Hopefully all goes well. Thank you very much for your thoughts today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, that's all for Katherine and myself. Please do click back to Dukascopy for more exclusive interviews, but bye for now.